video, we saw the pre-sale workflow of Cabot. Now, in this session, Venkat will explain the post-sales, typically the engineering workflow, starting from coding, testing, integration testing, and maybe delivery, and maybe bug fixes, the random bug fixes from the production. So, welcome.
Right, thank you, Abhi. So where we ended, so by the time the project hits the delivery team, I mentioned that we have a statement of work, we have a functional specification document, which is basically a feature list. We have some mock-ups, screen mock-ups that we have created, and also the workflow of the app, which is done. And also the high-level technical architecture is done by that point. We had decided which technology to use and whatnot. So all those things are decided, and there's a set of documents that will be handed over from the sales team to the delivery head. So my delivery head, typically then he goes through that. I mean, of course he is aware of the project before it actually gets to him officially. He goes through that and he assigns a project manager. So the first thing that the delivery manager does, so he is responsible for all projects that go through the doors of Cabot. So anything that goes out of the Cabot's door, then my delivery manager is responsible for that. So the first thing he has to do is, he has to assemble a team. So he has to assemble a team, and it is based on the duration of the project, how long are we going to take, the technical skills, and people's availability and whatnot, and the amount of expertise required. So if the technology is complicated, if it's a new technology, or we are doing something for the first time, things like that, we may want to use a different set of people, but most of the time otherwise we use a standard team.
You do this joint application development?
We sometimes, based on the client side, what the client have, we have done that. So typically what happens is that if the client has a team already there, and in some cases what happens is that the client already has an existing IT team, but they are unable to take on this project because of the existing workloads and whatnot. So they take a small project and give it to an outside team. But in that case, we will have to work with the existing team, and we will also be dictated on what technologies we should use. And they have a GitHub or a SVN or server that is there that they use. So we checked our code into that. Some clients do have people who can do the code walkthroughs, and they provide feedback and whatnot. So there are cases where the clients dictate, I want people to work on this technology and do it like this and whatnot.
So if you're developing an app which has a lot of interfaces to their native applications.
So what happens in case of us? We have done applications where we have taken a client's existing desktop or a server application, and we have made it mobile. We have just added the mobility part to it. In those cases, what happens is that we use the existing database and everything. We only use the mobile to create the mobile user interface, and we use APIs, which is application programming interfaces, to interact with the existing application. So either we develop those APIs ourselves, my team can develop those, or it's been provided by my client. If he has an existing team, they provide those APIs. So we integrate those APIs. So we use API calls to the server and to get the data and whatnot. We do a lot of those kind of applications as well. So, all right. So we assemble a team, and the team consists of a project manager first and foremost. And the project manager typically spends anywhere between 20 to 40% of time on a project, which means that he or she at any given point of time will be managing not more than 3 projects. So the maximum number of projects a project manager will be handling is 3 at any given point of time. And if it's a very large engagement, then we will have a dedicated project manager for that project.
They are also technical.
They are also technical. They all have a technical background. They are all PMP certified. They are also Scrum Masters and all those. So they are very well qualified to do this. So the project manager is there, and the business analyst who was earlier working on the project is also assigned to this project. And again, he or she also will spend about 20% of her time on this project. Just because of the fact that the BA has been completely informed about this project, they created all this documentation, they are involved in this thing. So that a lot of the questions that the development team has can be answered at this level before it goes to the client again.
The same BA.
The same BA, exactly. The same BA who did that. And then we have the technical team. So the technical team, there is a team lead plus developers. And again, based on the complexity of the project and the duration and everything like that, the team lead may just be a 50% allocation to the project, whereas all the developers are 100% allocated to the project. And one thing that we have started doing about 2 years back is to have a QA engineer right from day one. So right from day one, when you start developing, there's a QA engineer involved. So when we do our sprint planning meetings and everything, the QA engineer sits on that meeting, and then they start writing their test cases at that point. Okay. So that way, it doesn't hit them towards the end of it, and then they are not pressurized into writing the test cases and then doing the testing and whatnot. So they are well aware of the project. They sit on all meetings and they are part of that. We also have an infrastructure team. Sorry about that. The infrastructure team is a support team, and why they are critical is because they manage the cloud. So we do all our projects, they are all hosted on Amazon Web Services. So so these people, they set up the project in Amazon Web Services. They create the space that is needed for the project and everything like that. And they also we also use GitHub, which is a popular code repository tool. We use that. So the infrastructure team set all that up for them. So this is the team that's been assembled. And once this team is assembled, in the sense that by developers identified all these people, they get together, and in most likely cases, the developers and tech leads may be seeing this for the first time, or maybe getting into the detail of the project for the first time in that meeting. There is an overall overview meeting of the project. That meeting would last anywhere between 2 to 4 hours, where they do a detailed study of the specifications. And during this detailed study, they in fact do a re-estimation. They just want to make sure that they are comfortable with the estimates provided. One thing that it's probably a bottleneck is that the same team lead who had estimated may not be the team lead when the project comes to us. Because they may be allocated in different project or anything like that, or the developer who estimated may not be available. So in that case, they will do a re-estimation, and if there's significant difference, then we will actually reconcile it and see that, okay, what is the difference? Because we have already agreed to the cost and pricing and everything like that. But if there was something that was awfully missed in the first estimation, we will bring it back to that from the customer. In other cases, in most cases, that's not required. We will go ahead with the estimation required and whatnot. So once the team is set, we follow a 2-week sprint cycle, and the BA here creates the user stories. So 2-week sprint cycle, and it ends on Fridays. So Monday to Friday, I think. And the BA creates the user stories for production. Once the user stories are created, what are we going to do for the first sprint, we take up the user stories and we inform the customer saying that this is what we are planning to do in the first phase. And all this is done. While all this is being done, there is a dashboard that we use.
So so there is while developing the roadmap for the project, that is done when maybe somewhere here. Maybe.
Yeah. So okay. So when the project manager meets here, when they do the detailed study, he creates the project plan. So the project plan is created at this level. I mean, after this meeting.
Again, a client involvement may be required.
Yeah. But before that, we know. I mean, we know most of the answers that we need for this. A project plan is created, and most of our clients look at the project plan to understand the scheduled delivery, which is the most important aspect. So the time of delivery and the cost of delivery are the two most important things that we need to manage. And they look at this, and if there's a big variance from what we had initially agreed to the SOW, then we get into a call and then discuss whatnot. While all this is being done, what we do is we use a dashboard called Project Collab. As the name suggests, Project Collab is an enterprise project management system tool, and that is the meeting place for the customers, for my client and my team. So the Project Collab has all the documentation associated with the project. It has all the resources allocated to the project have access to that, and they enter their daily timesheets there. Their daily tasks are entered there. The priorities are assigned there. The project manager uses the Project Collab to assign tasks to people, and when they complete it, they mark it as completed.
So is it an in-house tool or
It is a purchased tool, but we have customized it a little bit for our thing. So, like I said, so this is used for documents, so that it's all in a single place. Time sheets, and the code is checked in there as well. So you can even have access to the code in their case. There is a discussion forum where developers can ask a question, and it's a thread, so we can keep everything in one place. And so basically it provides complete transparency of our development process. It's updated on a daily basis, even half-day basis. When somebody does a task in the morning, they update it. So my clients, and they can log in and they can see that okay, people are doing what are they doing, and how can they can track the progress very clearly. And when people are on leave or they take a day off or something like that, that's also reflected there. So it's a complete project management tool out there. So that's what we use. Now, okay, so what happens at the end of 2 weeks? So at the end of 2 weeks, what happens is we do the first client demo, right? So 2 weeks is our client demo. And when we have the client demo, the client says, yeah, it's good. It's going as per whatever it is. They see the product and everything like that. In most cases, they say that okay, we are on track. Let's go do these things. But there are cases when they see the demo, which is not the mock-up, which is actually with the real UI and the real functionality. They say that, well, this is not what I had in mind. This is not what I had in mind. Can you? Oh, I don't want the login to be there. Or I want it to be here, or things like that. So then we enter into what is called a CR process.
So here, before giving the demo, including your QA, everything is done, is it?
Yeah, in the 2 week sprint, before the demo is done, the QA is involved in here, and the QA is done. So usually it's delivered to the QA a day and a half or 2 days before the demo, and then they do that while they just clean up the code and whatever it is. There's no functionality done in the last 1 day. So yeah, before the client demo, QA is complete. QA signs off on that. QA QA complete before demo, and during the demo is where we start our change request process. So then we will have two tracks running. We will have a change request track coming in where the client will request us for a lot of different changes, and they will go. The change request will go back to the BA, and they will study the change request.
This is irrespective of the contract time.
Yeah.
For T&M time and material, you have the CR process.
It's there for both time and material
And fixed price.
as well as fixed price. Because what happens is that when the client requests for a change, we document that, and then because during the demo meeting there is no time to discuss that, and we cannot get into a discussion of why it is needed or why it is not needed or anything like that. So we had to go through with the demo. So we finished the demo, and then we take the request. The request go to the BA. He or she will study the change request, and then they will discuss with the technical team, get an estimate done for that, and then we'll go back to the customer. And that's usually done within 24 hours of the change request coming in. The reason being, because that change request could have an impact on the future stories that we are doing. So we try to do that, and then the CR is sent to client for approval. And once the CR is approved, based on the nature of the CR, it's either taken up on the next sprint or you can wait until the end or whatever it is. So that is the CR process. So then this continues week on, week off. It goes on like that. The change request is a process where the request that is coming in is actually compared with the original SOW and the functional specification to make sure that there is not something that was missed. Maybe it was something that we had put in the functional specification and it was not done or something like that. That checking is also done by the BA. Because you have to do that before you can get it approved by the client. So this process then continues. The delivery manager is only in the picture. He checks on with the client about once a month to see that how things are going and everything like that. The communication with the client on terms of project, everything is handled by the project manager. The questions are handled by business analyst. And if there is a technical team from the client side, my technical team directly discusses with them through the discussion forum. They are also available on Skype and Google Chat, but we try to use the discussion forum so that if they ask a question, it's also available for others to see. And the PM can also see that such and such person had asked a question and it was answered in a particular manner. So that there is a record of things going on. And when a new person joins the team, it could happen that sometimes we are not able to, because of this change request overtaking our development process, we may be getting closer to the scheduled delivery, but we are still not on project completion. So we may be adding new developers to the team, and when they come in, they can go through the discussion forum to understand what has been the project status so far.
Okay. So what are the challenges here?
So in terms of a new development, in terms of a new development, our challenges are in meeting the scheduled delivery most of the time with the change request process going on. Because some of these change requests could be a major change in the whole thing, and they will disrupt the whole development process that's going on. And if it is something that's discovered during, say, the 4th sprint, we are already 6 weeks down the project, and we discover something that the client is saying and they insist on this change request, there could be times where we had to go back and undo or redo a lot of things that we had done. And that's always a challenge,
So do you get into maintenance contracts also?
We do maintenance contract. Yeah. Any project that we undertake, we have a 30-day free maintenance, in the sense that unless nobody touches the code, we maintain it for 30 days for free. Any issues that come out of it, but other than that, we get into an annual maintenance contract. We sign AMCs where we do this thing. So getting back to what I was saying, so my scheduled delivery, meeting that with the change request process is a big thing. In some cases, I'm able to convince the client about pushing the change request to the release 2, where we can say that, okay, let's meet the release 1 delivery, and then let's work on the change request to meet the thing. And another challenge again is in customer engagement. This 2-week demo, 2-week demo for client demos. To the initial demos, first and second demos, or even the third demo, we may not have much to show, because a lot of the work will be happening on database design, UIs, and so the functionality wise we may not have a lot. So some clients do say that, yeah, that's fine, go ahead, proceed to the next level. But what we are missing is important client interaction time. Even if it is a 1 hour time frame that we get to meet with the client, that's a good time, right? That 1 hour, the team is interacting with the client, and whatever the client can see, they can comment on that and give a feedback. So I always make it a point to urge to people not to miss the demo meeting. Even if, sometimes what happens is that the clients may get eager and they say, well, show me what you have done on a Thursday evening or a Wednesday evening, and my team may show them. So they say that I have already seen it, so I don't want to be on the Friday meeting, but I insist that they do sit on the Friday meeting so that they don't lose out on the important interaction time. So that's very important. Throughout the whole process of the sales process as well as delivery, that is one key thing. I want people to realize that just because they have given a project for somebody else to do doesn't mean that they are not engaged in the project anymore. They should treat it as something happening in their own office, and then they engage. The more engagement that we have with the client, the better output that we can deliver.
It's about the client and the development team
together developing. Yeah, we cannot, because it's not our product. It's ultimately it's the client's product. It's the client's project. So it's ultimately their wish list that's being developed here.
So what can be the typical committed hours from the client for this project per week? How many hours you should?
So on a normal project, I would expect the client to spend at least 1 hour a day going through my collab, answering the questions, making sure things are okay, because we need to have early detection of problems and symptoms. So I want them to go through this, at least 1 hour a day, spending this, and then if there is anything that they see, it's not up to them or whatever it is, I want them to communicate with the project manager immediately, and then say that, hey, I don't see somebody charging the time, or what's happening, is there something wrong? I don't see a code check-in. I answered a question. I want to know if that answer was correct or not, if there is enough or something like that. So all those things are very important. So I want them to spend at least an hour a day, and also 1 to 2 hours sitting in on the demo. So I would say anywhere between 8 to 10 hours a week is typically needed for an average project. If the project requires a lot of subject matter expertise or business domain knowledge from the client, I would say that they assign a business analyst from their side to help with my business analyst, so they can work together on understanding the domain knowledge. Okay?
Okay, that is fine.
Yeah. So that's the typical process. And so, like I said, we go week on week. Sprint continues, and then we successfully release the project. And once the project is released, we can enter into an annual maintenance contract with the client, and we can either work on more features for the next release, or like I said, we have an infrastructure support team. If the project is deployed on cloud, we can maintain that the database and the servers based on the load and everything. We can advise on how much bandwidth to buy or how much storage to buy. All those things we can do. We can always add new features.
So you can definitely work along with them for their business continuity.
Correct. Yeah.
That is nice. So, again, what is coming out is the key, the critical success factor is the commitment from the client throughout the development process, as well as during finalizing the feature.
Yeah, the commitment from the client actually definitely determines the project outcome, and also the knowledge that's being shared with the team and the BA and even the QA. And also it's important for us to have this whole team together for the entire duration of the project without taking up things. And the most often what we have found as a problem in cases is that when we have assembled a team and assume that the client has, like you said, they have an already existing system and they just want the mobile component of it that we're developing. So they have to provide us with their APIs and whatnot. So when they provide us with those APIs, sometimes we find that they are not working properly or we are not getting the expected results. So we need to work with the technical team in getting that. But this may not be the highest priority for the existing technical team, whereas it is a higher priority for us. So there are times where I have assembled an entire team and they are waiting for information from the client. I cannot take them and put them on other projects or things like that, but they wait for the client to deliver that. So all those things, and it's escalated by my delivery manager, and the agent get in contact with the client and say that, hey, we have 3 people waiting for you, so could you hurry up and provide the information? So there are situations like that, but that's to be expected in an IT environment, I guess.
Great. Yeah. So it was a very informative discussion. So at least I understood the workflow.
Yeah.
And the key pain points as well.
Yeah. There are larger clients who actually have a set processes that they follow, including documentation, and in those cases my team will have to work with them. For example, one of my large clients is a company out of Boston, care.com, and they have a lot of extensive documentation that we need to follow. And there's a procedure before anything can be moved into production environment and everything else. So we need to follow that process. So we have to, we create all those necessary documentation. So if any feature is added to an existing product, there needs to be documentation for that. What is the feature? What are the systems that it interact with? And all these things have been submitted. And they actually do the final move into production after doing the integration testing and whatnot.
So given a free hand, this is the process.
Given a free hand is the process.
Sometimes it is customer driven.
Correct. Exactly. Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thank you very much, man.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, so I'll come back because what we do next is maybe within the development process, we do a time series study.
Okay.
This is what you explained to me.
Sure.
Now I think we'll analyze further, like what is the timeline required after logging in a requirement, completion of it. What is the time size? After logging in a CR, completion of it.
Okay.
What is the
definitely.
So that kind of a study we'll do. Okay. And because I'm also, as discussed earlier, I'm also trying to understand DevOps.
Okay.
From a practitioner's point of view,
Definitely.
not from the slides.
Okay.
So let us dirty our hands
Sure.
together and then maybe make some meaning out of all these things.
Will do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.